This is Larry King. Do you know what it's like to be without a state, but to dream about establishing one? That's precisely what happened in Basel in 1901. Hundreds of Jews from around the world gathered for the Fifth Zionist Congress so they could continue planning how to fulfill the Zionist vision. Yes, Herzl was there too, there going over the checklist. A vision is in place, and so is faith. And of course, a 2,000-year-old dream. So that's how a Jewish state was conceived. Money? Not enough money. Yes, just like any other home, building a national home for the Jews also costs money, and a lot of it. This is where the first chairman of the JNF, Yonah Kromensky, comes into the picture, who recalls the Second Zionist Congress and the proposal made by the late Professors V. Herman Shapira to raise money from Jews worldwide. Everyone should contribute as they see fit. That's right, crowdfunding, only without any credit cards or PayPal or bank transfers. So how do they manage to collect money from Jews across the globe? That question was answered by the banker Chaim Kleinman, who came up with the idea of that blue box, the same blue box we're all familiar with, which was to collect the money cent by cent from Jews worldwide. I had one at my house. JNF stamps were another means for raising money. The first stamp was called the Zion stamp. It bore a blue Star of David with the word Zion in the middle of it. That idea was introduced by Yonah Kromensky. As expected, the first person to make a donation was Yonah Kromensky. He was followed by Theodor Herzl, and the third donor was David Wolfson. After that, the trend took off and reached Jews all over the world. There wasn't a Jew who didn't know what the JNF was. 3 years later, the fund purchased the first 1,000 acres of land on the way to fulfilling the vision. The fund continued to raise money and didn't stop fulfilling, creating, working, digging, building, and establishing a national home for the Jews in the land of Israel. By May 1948, the fund had acquired 234,000 acres of land, 220 towns and settlements were built on them, and around 5 million trees were planted. Since then, and to this very day, the Jewish National Fund has kept on working to fulfill the Zionist vision and develop the land of Israel in a variety of areas, including education, bringing new immigrants to the country, strengthening the bond with the diaspora, safeguarding the environment, establishing parks, and cycling paths for the public to enjoy, and a lot more. JNF works to advance education and young people in the periphery, and this year, the first JNF House of Excellence was dedicated in Upper Nazareth. The house offers teens enrichment and knowledge and provides them with extra assistance in core subjects and introduces them to high-tech cyber, new technologies, and entrepreneurship. The fund exists for the periphery in all parts of the country and in all spheres. The fund encourages settlement, makes land usable for agriculture, establishes public spaces and parks for the public to enjoy, paves security roads, and reinforces settlements without a stop. The fund exists for the future generation and teams up with Zionist youth movements around the world, cultivates Jewish youth across the globe, and supports pre-army preparatory programs. The fund exists for a green environment and continues to establish and invest in new water reservoirs and environmental projects throughout Israel. The fund exists for soldiers and helps them in many different ways, including by planting trees at IDF bases, opening clubhouses, and places for them to meet with their families. JNF has laid the groundwork for and paved roughly 800 miles of green and engaging bike paths throughout Israel, while continuing to develop them. The fund exists for everyone's benefit and established a multi-sensory science garden at the Jordan River Village for children with special needs. The fund exists for resilient Zionism and strengthens the bond with the diaspora Jewry and seeks to bring new immigrants to Israel, absorb them, help them integrate quickly into Israeli society. JNF, the new Zionism. The fund exists for Israel.